Now, the governor is pardoning 8 more people, what he hopes comes next for them. And thousands run through downtown in this year's Madison Marathon in freezing temperatures. Plus, a boy is stopping in Madison on his way across the country to deliver a special gift to local police department.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5:30.
Thanks for joining News 3 Now at 5:30. I'm Amanda Quintana. We've got a little snow on the way tonight, then the cold moves in. Let's get a look at your first alert weather with Dana Fulton.
Quite a lot going on over in our quarter right now. Again, very cold outside for tonight. We're waiting for that light snow to start to pick up, and it's likely going to impact your morning commute. Looking at our high resolution Doppler, which gives us a better image, of course, at what is falling. It does seem like there are some light flurries around Lone Rock, but the rest of the area is still dry, though very chilly. Already 34 in Madison, 29 in Black River Falls, and 37 in Janesville. Those temps are just going to continue to drop tonight into the upper teens. Alert days are in the forecast for the start of your week, with record cold possible almost every morning. We'll take a closer look at what is ahead with the snowfall coming through in just a few minutes. Amanda?
Thank you, Dana. More local news now. Governor Evers issued pardons to 8 people on Friday. That's according to a new release this morning. The release says the pardons came after Evers considered recommendations from the Pardon Advisory Board during an October 14th hearing. Those pardoned served sentences for various crimes, including possession of marijuana, failing to report income while receiving public assistance, and theft. In a statement, the governor said, quote, "I look forward to seeing how they use this second chance to give back to their communities and our state." Last month, Evers issued the state's first pardons in 9 years. Milwaukee police are searching for a hit-and-run driver who injured 2 children and their parents outside of the Pfizer Forum last night. The family was crossing a street when a car made a left turn and hit them on the sidewalk. Officials say the 2 kids under the age of 8 and their parents were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police are searching for a 2018 silver 4-door Chevy Malibu. It's Milwaukee's 4th hit-and-run involving a child pedestrian in the past 2 weeks. Despite the cold and windy conditions in downtown Madison, more than 4,400 runners participated in the 25th Madison Marathon today. Madison Festivals, who puts on the race, had to make a few changes, though, adding hot foods like barbecue and coffee and setting up warming stations. While some races are declining in participation, the Madison Marathon is increasing.
Never know if you're going to get a really nice day, a cold day, a day like today where there's the wind coming off of the lake, and yet the runners still sign up for the race. So I think that shows the dedication.
She says, ironically, 5 years ago, the race was moved from May to November because it was too hot. The event is also a fundraiser. Money collected goes back to local organizations. Ahead of Veterans Day tomorrow, 2 families in Lodi are celebrating the Marine Corps' 244th birthday today as 2 of their own joined the ranks. Trenton Ness and his good friend Nathan Beachy just graduated high school together this year and more recently completed the grueling 13-week boot camp to become Marines. Today, the families are holding a party at Katie's Bar and Grill to celebrate the young men's accomplishments.
For me, it means being part of the legacy that's continued on for now 244 years of brave men and women who have died and sacrificed so much so that we can all live how we want to.
Tonight at 10, you'll hear from the new Marines and their families on what makes this day so special. Meanwhile, President Trump is in New York City to kick off the Veterans Day parade tomorrow morning, but that comes as the impeachment inquiry opens public hearings into Trump's phone call with the Ukraine leader. They begin on Wednesday. CBS News' Weisha Zhang is at Trump Tower in New York.
Democrats say they won't let the whistleblower or Joe Biden's son Hunter testify in the impeachment inquiry. In a letter to House Republicans, Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff warned that he would not approve their request to hear from the whistleblower, a demand President Trump has made multiple times. One of the president's closest allies says that would make the case a non-starter if it reaches the Republican-controlled Senate.
If they don't call the whistleblower in the House, this thing is dead on arrival in the Senate.
Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy said for him, the key factor is the president's motive on his July 25th phone call with the Ukraine leader.
If it can be demonstrated that the president asked for and had the requisite state of mind that the president asked for an investigation of a political rival, that's over the line.
Okay.
But if he asked for an investigation of possible corruption by someone who happens to be a political rival, that's not over the line.
Democrats promise the hearings will be fair, and they say an inquiry into President Trump's actions is justified.
This is a very strong case of bribery.
Evidence of an extortion scheme using taxpayer dollars to ask a foreign government to investigate the president's opponent.
Ahead of the hearings, President Trump will attend Monday's Veterans Day parade on New York's Fifth Avenue. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, New York.
You can catch Wednesday and Friday morning's public hearings into the impeachment inquiry right here on News 3 Now. It's the day many of us have been waiting for years. Traffic is finally shifting onto the new Verona Road this weekend. Crews are putting the final touches on the expanded lanes between Raymond Road and County PD. This morning, 3 lanes were opened for southbound Verona Road traffic, and by tomorrow morning, 3 northbound lanes will be open as well. A 12-year-old boy stopped in Madison today as he makes his way across the country to deliver donuts to local law enforcement agencies. Tyler Karach, who is affectionately called the Donut Boy, delivered donuts today to the Shorewood Hills Department. With Tyler's support, the department was celebrating its victory in a national contest to win new boots for its officers. Tyler says he has delivered more than 90,000 donuts in all 50 states, and officers like Shorewood Hills Chief Aaron Chapin are impressed with his passion and commitment to law enforcement at such a young age.
Had the opportunity to meet him a couple of times. Incredible young man who has a vision to thank people who are in the service, people service industry, specifically law enforcement, and just taking an opportunity to say thank you.
Chief Chapin says the new boots will get a lot of use within the department. He says it's critical to have light and durable boots when officers are in them for 8 to 10 hours a day. Today, Freewheel hosted its last Build a Bike workshop of the season. Gabriela Becerra is in now with how those who attend get more than just a bike by the end of this class.
That's right. You don't need parts and you don't need money to participate in this Build a Bike class. And that's because Freewheel Bikes has the mission of transportation equality. And they say that can be done with bikes.
A taller Schwinn here as well, looks like, maybe a 25.
Building a bike.
Centimeter frame, I bet.
From the frame up.
So now that everyone's got bikes.
Whether someone has the parts.
Frame? You need a frame?
Or not.
We have some people who can't afford anything. And so we provide what we can for those people that can't afford to make their own bike.
Freewheel hosted their last Build a Bike class of the season.
Our Build a Bike class is about building a bike from the frame up. And we have 6 hours to do it.
Today, Scott Zibble is building a bike for racing.
So I wanted to get a better bike at an affordable price.
And he's looking forward to learning more about speed.
I want to be able to make a bike go faster with the gearing systems.
But people leave this class with more than a new bike.
Drivetrain out, so as you're looking at the stand.
The people that volunteered at Freewheel thought, you know, transportation and economic equity can be provided through a bike.
Freewheel's executive director, Elijah McCloskey, is an example of their mission.
He came here when he was 16 years old, came to a Build-A-Bike class, built a bike. He was homeless at the time, and the bike allowed him to find a job, find housing, and, you know, eventually accomplish a lot.
And they're hoping this knowledge gets passed on.
They go home and they teach what they know to other people, and that they can use their resources to help others.
The class is completely free, but Freewheel does appreciate donations. They say the bike participants' take-home costs about $150. Build a Bike will pick back up in the spring.
All right, thank you so much, Gabby. And in an effort to keep those bikers safe, city officials are asking for the public's input on the city's first parking-protected bike lane on North Bassett Street. These lanes will be part of a year-long trial period on the 110 blocks of North Bassett Street. City officials say they're considering expanding these new bike lanes throughout the city after seeing their success in places like Minneapolis and Portland. You can see in this graphic we're showing here, this was released by the city, that the lanes use parked vehicles and posts to act as a barrier between cyclists and drivers on the road. Officials say the lanes are safer for the cycling community, but also require increased mindfulness from the public on current road use habits. Still to come on News 3 Now at 5:30, should you use hand sanitizer for cold and flu prevention? Consumer Reports has some surprising new findings that might have you going for the sink instead of that pump. Today marks the 50th anniversary of Sesame Street. The beloved educational children's program launched on this day in 1969. It was initially broadcast on 180 public television stations with the goal to prepare less advantaged kids for school. A half-century later, it reaches more than 150 countries and is translated into 70 languages. Sesame Workshop struck a deal with HBO 4 years ago. Soon the entire 50-year library of the show will be on the new HBO Max streaming service. In the battle against the flu, an annual vaccine is important, and so is keeping your hands clean. But before you give that hand sanitizer a pump, Leah Lynchide for Consumer Reports reveals a surprising new study about germs at this time of year.
Fall may be in the air, but winter is on its way, bringing flu season with it. The health team at Consumer Reports says one key to staying on your feet is by paying attention to your hands.
It's so important to keep your hands clean. Hand washing with soap and water is the ideal. Hand sanitizer is the next best option.
Which may or may not be saying much. According to the CDC, alcohol-based sanitizer can kill some germs, such as cold and flu viruses, when used correctly. But sanitizer is not reliable against several other germs, including norovirus, the common and highly contagious stomach bug. And it may not be as effective if your hands are visibly dirty with grime. One recent study even found washing your hands with water alone, without soap, might do a better job of removing flu virus than hand sanitizer did. That doesn't mean you shouldn't use soap. The best way to clean your hands is to wash with soap and water for at least 20 seconds.
Hand washing removes germs from your hands. Hand sanitizer can kill germs, but it doesn't always get all of them, which makes hand washing a better bet.
If you really can't get to a sink, use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Be sure to use enough to cover all of the surfaces of your hands and fingers, rubbing it in until it's dry. And remember, the #1 way to reduce your risk of catching the flu is by getting the flu vaccine.
And while a flu shot and regular hand washing will go a long way towards preventing colds and the flu, Consumer Reports reminds you that the flu also spreads through the air, so try to avoid close contact with people who you know are sick. Coming up on News 3 Now at 5:30, we have 3 alert days this week with overnight lows that could break a record. Dana Fulton has your full forecast after the break.
First, we were focusing on the cold, and now we're talking about a little bit of snow that will be moving in overnight. Right now, we do have winter weather advisories in effect for most of southern Wisconsin overnight and through Monday morning until noon, actually, for Rock, Lafayette, Dane, and Greene counties. The concern, of course, the snow coming in overnight is certainly going to impact your morning commute for areas south and east of Madison. It might even still be falling as you hit the road. So here's a close look at what we're expecting. Mostly cloudy right now. The snow really not going to pick up for the next few hours. Still a lot of dry air on the ground. Once it does start, though, the snow does continue on overnight through midnight into early on Monday. Once we get closer to that early commute time, around 5, 6 o'clock, the snow does start to taper off. That's the good news from west to east. So Grant County lighting up first, most of the northwest corner of Dane County and even into Madison, dry around 7 o'clock. But we're likely still going to have snow falling in Janesville. Just some light snow and flurries. Monroe, Fort Atkinson might even be seeing a little bit of snow falling still for that morning commute. By the afternoon, though, partly sunny skies, still very breezy with that wind from the northwest. But the snow is gone, and then we just have cold air settling on in. As far as that expected snowfall is concerned, there is going to be a very tight gradient in Dane County. Around Madison, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. Southeast of Madison, those totals are going to be a little bit higher, 3 to 4, with some isolated areas along the state line probably getting more than 4 inches of snowfall. And then northwest of Madison, stretching up towards Fond du Lac as well, trace amounts up to about 1 inch of accumulation. Now, the thing to note, over the next few hours, we're going to be keeping a very close eye on this system, because if there is just a slight shift, this gradient in Dane County is really going to impact those accumulation totals for Madison. Shifts a little further south, we're looking at just trace amounts. If it shifts just a little further north, we'll be hovering a little bit over 3 inches of accumulation. So you'll want to keep a very close eye, of course, on the app tomorrow morning as you're heading on out, but plan ahead for some snow on the ground in Madison. Have the scraper ready as well. You don't want to dig around for that early in the morning. Once the snow gets through, high pressure builds on in. It is going to be very cold. In fact, near record-breaking cold for tomorrow. We're looking at a high of about 24. The record low high is 23. And as you can see for the night for the 12th and for the afternoon on the 12th, close to record-breaking low highs as well. Tonight we'll be falling into the upper teens, unseasonably cold, but not record-breaking. The snow is going to develop and then stay into tomorrow morning. That winter weather advisory does go until noon on Veterans Day for Monday. Alert day stretching through Tuesday and Wednesday because it is going to be so cold outside in the morning. We'll be in the single digits, so plan to keep these snow boots on hand just to keep yourself a little extra warm. By the end of the week, we'll see a little bit more moderate temperatures in the low 30s for Thursday and Friday with some sun coming back through. And then by the weekend, a little closer to 40, though that's still well below average. Again, through the rest of this evening, we are going to keep a close eye on that system. Pretty confident right now. I'd say really confident actually in that 1 to 3 inches around Madison, but just a little shift could really bump those numbers up or start getting just a little closer to that trace 1 inch amount.
So looking to see if it moves north or south, and that will determine our morning commute.
Yes, plan ahead though for a little extra time, I would say, on the roads tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much, Dana. The women's basketball team is off to a solid start this year. Highlights from the Kohl Center next in sports.
Well, the frozen tundra is indeed living up to its name tonight. Packers hosting the Panthers, who probably don't play very many snowy games down in North Carolina. The two teams exchanging blows, and right now the Packers are in the lead. Aaron Jones scoring 3 touchdowns for Green Bay so far. Jimmy Graham and Devontae Adams are both having big games as well. Other NFC North action today, Lions visiting the Bears at Soldier Field. We pick it up in the second half. Chicago up 7-6. Mitchell Trubisky to his left. 9-yard play to Tariq Cohen. Bears up 13-6 now. Then later, Trubisky in the pocket, finding Taylor Gabriel. Check this out for the 24-yard score, 20-6 Bears. But the Lions are not going to go quietly into the night. Jeff Driscoll at quarterback. He scrambles a little more, finds Kenny Galladay. Look at this catch here. Whew. 47-yard touchdown. It is a 1-score game. Last chance for Detroit. Driscoll firing after he scrambles again into the end zone, but it is incomplete. Bears hang on 20-13, the final score. The Badgers back on track after 2 weeks and a bye without a win. Wisconsin getting back to basics with work down in the trenches and the run game against Iowa, and that will show in this week's Associated Press poll. Now note that this week's college football playoff poll won't be announced until Tuesday night. So for now, the Badgers move up 1 spot to number 15. Now in terms of other Big Ten teams, Ohio State moving up to number 2. Minnesota, the big jumper this week, they're up to number 7. And Indiana breaking into the top 25. They are 24th. And while this win did feel good, there's still a lot of football left to play.
We wanted a lot to get together as a whole team. It's essential. It's a Big Ten West game. We have 4 lined up, so we got to make sure that we're on. It's November. Everyone's going to be trying to be at their best, and you got to make sure that you're able to play for 60 minutes.
Women's basketball team starting the season off 1-0, hosting Wofford College at the Kohl Center. We pick it up in the third quarter there. That was Suzanne Gilreath. She takes advantage of being open. Badgers take the lead. She had a game-high 21 points today. Then later, check out the moves from former Monroe standout Sydney Hilliard. She knocks down 1 3, then decides she's feeling herself. Back-to-back long balls. She had 14 points and 5 rebounds. Under 5 to go, Kendra Van Leeuwen to Amani Lewis. Nice look here. Lewis with a double-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds. And Wisconsin wins 78-65. They move to 2-0. They'll head on the road to Colorado on Thursday. We've had a lot of these bigger-than-sports moments this weekend. Yesterday, during the fourth quarter of the Hawkeyes-Badgers game, Wisconsin native Gregory Slattery, he's a senior airman in the Air Force, he surprised his 3-year-old son and his family on the field. He'd been stationed in Afghanistan since March. I just love these. These never fail to make me cry. I mean, it's just such a wonderful moment, especially for his young son there.
Definitely. I could watch YouTube video after YouTube video of them coming home and hugging their kids and the surprise. It's so heartwarming.
I cry every single time. You just can't get enough of these.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Michelle Carolla. Tonight on the news at 9, from an early friendship to recruiting and more, two Lodi Marines stuck together through it all. Now they're returning home. That story is first on Fox at 9.
And we're paying attention to some snow coming.
Light snowfall developing tonight, so a winter weather advisory is in effect for most of the area starting here in a few hours and lasting all the way through Monday morning, as the snow is really going to start to pick up later tonight, falling from midnight until early Monday. Your commute will be a little messier, and then behind that, it gets really cold.
All right, thanks so much, and thanks for joining us. Have a great night.